Hello everyone, thanks for coming along on the journey with us to this West Coast trip of ours that we decided to plan around mid-May this time of year in 2025. And this is going to be a crazy video. I'm going to be starting from point A to point whoever knows in the alphabet, but I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to be going through a big run through of what we visited and how we enjoyed it and everything with our camper, of course. So it was quite a trip for us. So we always wanted to travel with our RV to California, and it finally came true. We have been to places like Key West in the past, Smoky Mountains, Rocky Mountains, Mackinac Island, twice actually. Tractor shows, Wisconsin, Indiana. We've been to Yellowstone, but that was with my dad's work van back in 2016. And there's many more that we've been to, but I can't think of everything at this time. But, by means, we took a vehicle for most of our trips in the US, except for going, to Mexico. We went with a plane and everything like that. But I'm going to be sharing lots of fun facts, tips along the way. And first thing and foremost, if you guys want to know what we're driving on this trip, so we back in 2021, right after COVID hit, we decided to buy a 2007 Gulfstream Vista Cruiser Mini Class CRV with the chassis of a Freightliner Sprinter Turbo diesel V6 engine. And we didn't want to go crazy with buying a 40-footer bus at first because, they were expensive and we were just getting started with the RV journey, and we didn't want to go straight into the big money and everything like that. So we were first-time RV owners, so we didn't want something too large to begin with. And we got 6 folks in our family, so this one was pretty much plenty for us. It sleeps 5 people comfortably, and I don't mind being on the passenger seat every now and then, with the seat reclined, of course, so there's more room, on the top bunks. Our dining table turns into a place that sleeps, one person comfortably. It could also sleep 2 people, and then the couch sleeps, I would say 2 people comfortably. And yeah, some quick facts on our motorhome. It's got one slide out, an average of 17 miles per gallon. It's 23 foot long. I would say it's 24 even. But we tend to have a trailer behind us most of the time, so we don't even think of that number when we're reserving an RV park, because we always want to get, if our trailer is 16 feet, then we just go with a 40-footer, RV site. And yeah, I'm going to start off with our first stop, taking us approximately 28 hours, 1,900 miles from the Chicago suburbs, but of course driving a motorhome like ours, we tend to go like 60 to 65 miles per hour, staying on the right lane most of the time, letting trucks pass us, vehicles, everything pretty much, just to keep good mileage. But our first stop was Death Valley, home of holding the record for the hottest temperature at 134 degrees Fahrenheit in the summertime, low elevations of negative, and I said negative, 282.2 feet, and the great sand dunes scenery, likewise being at harsh environment levels. You don't see much people living here besides the 1.1 million people that visit per year on average. This place spans 300 miles, with Route 190 being about 190 miles within. We took some nice photos in the dunes, and it's all nicely dried out branches, lots of cool road signs, old tractors, equipment, and more. And our RV at the midtime during May showed us 99 degrees Fahrenheit on our dash. And luckily that was in dry conditions, so there's no humidity on the radar, unlike what you see in our hometown near Chicago, where the humid really takes a toll on you. We hopped into our first scenic point, and we didn't know how windy it was, so we had to keep our hats intact or else they would escape. We took Joseph, my 7-month-old brother, with us onto this mini hike, and it wasn't what we expected. Good thing we bought an umbrella to keep him covered from the intense sun heat, because he is decently pale. We didn't want him to get a sunburn quickly. And yeah, this fort here, from my interpretation, was home to a borax plant back in the late 1980s, from 1883 to 1888. It was the most profitable mineral in these circumstances. With a 20-mule team, transporting the minerals to suppliers. Now you know where one of the first borax operations took place and how your household everyday cleaners came to be. You can definitely take some inspiring photos here with cactuses, dunes, shrubs in the background, and everything, and sizzle some saltiness, of course, while you're at it. Lots of old machines parked in place, used by the local owners in the area for many purposes in the fields. And driving in these conditions, sometimes on second gear, especially when going downhill, takes a toll on the engine and having to still hold the brakes in the meantime. There was this nice resort along our route, so we decided to take some photos showcasing our second home, pretty much. After about 3 hours of exploring this hot, one would think we would just find an RV park and move on to the next stop and go to bed, just like we see Emily and Joseph here. But nope, we got back onto the main roads and made our way to Hollywood and the Beverly Hills area because we had so much left in the day to see what there is to offer. So on our way to Beverly Hills, we got hit with a big fog, so we were being extra cautious to keep our distance from others, but luckily it didn't last too long until it finally cleared up. It took us approximately 4.5 hours, and that sign was about 300 miles south from us, so it was quite the drive, but when we made it, it was all worth it. We got the vibes of what it's like to be in Los Angeles, full of heavy traffic and lots of attractions all the way around. The first time we saw these oddly grown trees that we thought would be awesome to take a picture of, so while we were stopped at a red light, I hopped out real quick. My dad was able to snatch a few photos. Parking was fairly limiting upon arriving at the Hollywood sign, and it was all at an incline. With all the parking spots being on the shoulder of the road, we were lucky to find a spot that could accommodate our RV pretty well. We were thinking that the Hollywood sign would be a clear front view, but it turned out slightly on the side from the scenic spot. It was great to take pictures of the family, especially when my dad was holding two kids at once, which looked risky for me to do something like that, but he was able to manage to pull it off. There were massive wings too, so people were lining up taking pictures in front of that as well. It seemed as if we were soaring into the sky with golden wings. Emily enjoyed it as well with her stylish poses. There was a nice building attraction located near the Hollywood sign, so we decided to stop by and see what was happening there. A pendulum was the first thing we saw that was telling the time and the date we were currently in, I believe. And there was nice presentations of the summer and winter solstices that gave us some background info of how it came to be. Next, we headed to the city of Hollywood for the Walk of Fame. Me and my older sister only hopped off for this one on our own, since my dad was busy finding a parking spot for oversized RVs. We ended up having to stay under hazard lights because, there was only a temporary parking spot available. And by the way, we saw this new concept of like a self-moving cart that supposedly was delivering food for people through a similar idea such as Uber. So I gotta say that was pretty neat to see in California in this day and age. But going back to the Walk of Fame, there were nice iconic stars, actors, actresses throughout the century that were embedded in the sidewalk. The star made around each name. I could probably only recognize a few of them since I'm not an expert regarding movie stars and who plays what in particular, but it was still great to take some great pictures of Charlie Chaplin, popular for his silent film productions, Louis Armstrong, an amazing trumpet player and vocalist, and David Hasselhoff, which I can remember he played in the first SpongeBob SquarePants movie back in the day. There was this nice wax museum that we didn't have enough time to go inside of, but from the outside we were able to see the Hulk, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, that were all made entirely out of wax. That does it for the Hollywood trip. We didn't spend much time in Beverly Hills since it was pretty hilly to make it up that way, so it was pretty tough to go with our RV. So we'll save that place for a different time in the future. and off to Disneyland, which is probably my favorite part of the whole trip, which we spent 3 nights at a hotel so we could take a nice little break from being in the RV the whole time. The road trip wasn't too long, at being only 45 minutes or 33 miles away from the general Hollywood area. We got to Disneyland just in time for the 70-year anniversary, if you weren't aware of at all beforehand. Before, it was busy no matter what day of the week we would go and visit. There were just so many visitors, and the wait time for the rides were so long as they could be. I believe me and my sister had to wait the longest for Space Mountain, which was an astonishing 1.5 hours in total. My goal was to get a shirt at pretty much every major stop we made, and I guess I made it happen, since I got 10 extra shirts in my closet now. As you can see, Joseph was excited with all the attractions going on around us. Even at his young age, he was amazed to be in a Wonderland like this one. The whole makeup of this place was just astonishingly great, and the rides made the trip worthwhile. And since Emily was taller than 42 inches, she could practically go on many of the rides, including, the Mad Tea Party, when she went with us. That was spinning us in circles up and down, side to side. You can take pictures with whoever you want from all around the theme rides, from the movies you used to watch growing up, like Woody and the Gang, Winnie the Pooh, Mickey Mouse, of course, and more. The Star Wars experience is one to remember, since we got to ride the Millennium Falcon through its virtual reality first-person action scene, where I was the pilot, steering left and right. Emily was the co-pilot, in charge of going up and down, and my sister was the gunman, so she was in charge of pretty much making all the shots. So we were sent on a mission led by C-3PO to travel and defend ourselves in the depths of the Star Wars world. I highly recommend going on Star Wars Rise of Resistance to see yourself firsthand what it's like to be in the perspective of Star Wars characters. All of our food for lunch we ordered through the Disneyland app, so we didn't have to wait in the long lines. I remember I got the smoked beef brisket sandwich, which was great. The wait time for them to make it at Hungry Bear Barbecue wasn't too long, unlike more specialty meals, taking 30 minutes plus to be made. But it's all based on who has time to wait and who's in a rush to go on all the rides. And to go on as much as possible, which that was my sisters, Carolina and I. That was our goal this day. And then when you got some time to spare, we were able to get the Cocoa Puffs cold brew, which was great to have as a quick drink with a mix of cereal and coffee all in one. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh was a smooth ride for Emily to go on, and it was about 3D images popping up right in your face all at once. Then you get the elegant H-U-N-N-Y spelling of the word honey instead of H-O-N-E-Y, of course. Brought to you by Winnie the Pooh. And Jungle Cruise was another great ride, presenting us with lots of robotic zoo animals and life in the jungle of elephants, tigers, gorillas, giraffes, zebras, more. As you can see, we had a nice tour guide leading.
Oh, we're surrounded! Yay! Okay. Hold on, give me a second. Cover your ears. Okay, go away. Go away, come on. Shoot, be on. Look how cute they are. Underneath the water. Away from us. Did you know that hippos have the ability to run underneath the water at 45 miles per hour? Wow. Yeah. Thank goodness we're doing 10, right? Okay, let's go here. Oh, it just took over the boat. And that one's taking my job. Okay. Well, alright. That's super embarrassing. We're gonna get going. We'll get back. Distraction! Butterfly!
The way on the river and giving us some great added enjoyment to the ride. The Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters was yet another great ride when we all got to shoot around and aim at the targets, while being able to rotate the vehicle whenever you wanted to, and my sister wasn't too happy every time I got her to lose her aim when I was moving the joystick back and forth. My sister and I decided to stay back and catch Uber at night so we could make it to the parade and fireworks around, I believe it was 9:30. While my parents, Joseph and Emily, decided to take the shuttle bus back to the RV earlier since they were getting a bit tired already. And Disneyland was only 15 minutes away from the hotel, so it wasn't a big, road distance away. And we thought, it was our best judgment to just stay back, take advantage of being here while we can until dark. This gave us the extra time to go on Space Mountain, of course, and wait in a long line without our parents waiting for us. We also got Dole Whip. That's another nice treat you guys should consider going to when planning your trip to Disneyland. Pineapple Dole Whip, that is. We decided we missed part of the parade because my sister and I were on the hunt for getting some Disneyland apparel like hoodies and shirts, and I'm the easy guy when it comes to finding shirts and clothes that look good to my standard, but my sister had a rough time choosing her hoodie, so it took her a bit longer and she ended up not getting anything. So we were speed walking from store to store to get to the gift shops back and forth in hopes of finding something cool, but that really never happened. So I was the only one who bought myself 2 shirts at this place while my sister left Disneyland that night empty-handed. At least we made it for Monsters Inc. on this moving vessel. And there was also Frozen, Mickey and Minnie Mouse on their separate presentations. Olaf dancing. He looked pretty neat since I've never seen a dancing snowman in public. And the fireworks are pretty nice. They're absolutely great, with the castle being lit up, projected with different storylines. And I heard about there being a fireworks show, so I thought it would be great. I thought it was just going to be ordinary fireworks, but it was more than that, and I was wrong to know that the whole kingdom would glow up right in front of us with magnificent colors. The fireworks flowing up were just great and thrilling to watch. The new ways to showcase them and the fine atmosphere. I think lots of others were in complete shock to witness such a presentation, and not just me. And on an ending note, we decided to stop by Alien Pizza Planet for only 2 slices of pizza. It turned out into getting 3 slices of pizza for free. Actually, the 3rd slice was for free. So the lady was nice enough to give us the additional slice that we definitely made our night even better. That about does it for Disneyland, and we, safely got back to our hotel afterwards, of course. And the next day, our plan is to go back to Hollywood for a whole day's worth at Universal Studios, which is similarly comparable theme rides, but it was on a different level. From the standpoint of there being movie characters and popular actors and actresses from these movies, that is. Stay tuned for part 2 on this journey with us, since the video is getting pretty long, and I want to make a video about 45 minutes. That's a little too long for YouTube, so I'll go ahead and make a part 2, possible part 3. There's still so much more that I have to show. We went to places like Santa Monica, San Francisco, Yosemite National Park. We saw sea lions next to the shore, and there's so much more to come. So just stay tuned, and good luck, and see you in part 2.
O, tu jest taki mini zamek. Domyślki Miki, widzisz tam? Tutaj ludzie sobie pływają znowu łódkami.